Okay, this is going to be a short video on the timeline of the English Civil War. And this is, again, the time period where the monarchy and Parliament were fighting for power. The first event is the Stuart kings, James I and then his son Charles I. They start declaring that they rule by absolute right. And this period is from 1603 to 1625. That's James I. And then his son Charles becomes heir to the throne, and he starts asserting his power. And you can see this is what he did. He dissolves Parliament. That would be kind of like the President of the United States going into the Senate and to the House of Representatives with a bunch of Marines and basically ordering them out of the chamber and saying, you no longer make laws, I make the laws. That is what happened in England, and it's kind of unbelievable that that might happen today. Obviously, that would lead to tremendous issues anywhere, especially in the United States. And it doesn't matter which president it would be. Any president that did that would cause a lot of problems. You have a period now where the English Commonwealth period begins. This is a short period. It's 11 years, and this is after the Civil War. The Long Parliament meets, and this is a parliament that basically was fighting against the king and fighting against Charles in particular. And this resulted in a number of battles and a number of wars, and Oliver Cromwell emerges as a key figure in this period. You also have the English Civil War raging, so let's look at that. War breaks out between the Roundheads. That's the normal people, the common people, and they represent Parliament. Now, some in Parliament, particularly the Lords, joined Charles's army, and they were the Cavaliers. So Charles had the Cavaliers, and Parliament had the Roundheads. And we were talking about how the Roundheads were kind of like the Roughers. They were just normal people, and they were fighting against the nobility. They were called Roundheads because of the helmets that they wore. They were round. The Cavaliers, you can see, they're dressed in a very, very different type of outfit. They were obviously showing their wealth. The weapons being used here is a short or flintlock pistol. You had muskets and pistols, and also swords. Eventually, Cromwell's army is victorious, and Charles I is executed for treason. We watched a video on that yesterday. In the Commonwealth period, the monarchy is abolished. Parliament wants to make Cromwell the king. He refuses it, very much like George Washington would do when we talked about Cincinnatus in the past. Cromwell is the leader, but there are problems with the nation. People don't like the Puritans' way of life. They want to have their normal life again. And they start wishing for a king because they start getting unsatisfied. So Cromwell dies in 1658, and what happens? Those in charge, many people want the monarchy back, and they ask the monarchy, the Stuart family, to come back. And you have what is called Charles I becomes the king, and he takes care of those who were in Parliament that executed his father. They all get killed. Cromwell, we talked about, his body is disinterred and he's hung even though he's dead. After a while, though, guess what happens? Even though Parliament said you have to obey the rules, you have to listen to Parliament, the king wanted to do it his way. Kings like to have power. So the Glorious Revolution occurs. And this is a bloodless revolution. And basically, William and Mary become the monarchs of England. And they talk with Parliament, and they agreed to limit the powers of the monarchy and put the monarchy under the authority of Parliament. This also has the passage of the Bill of Rights. And it's called the Glorious Revolution because it brought about such great change to England, and it was bloodless. No one died in this. They finally had gotten tired of killing each other, and they each compromised. So the Queen and the King and Queen, they no longer have the power to suspend laws to get rid of Parliament. They have to consult with Parliament, and they have to work together. And this brings about really the change of the constitutional monarch, which is in place by the end of the 18th century. By the beginning of the 18th century, the end of the 17th century, England now is a constitutional monarch. We'll be talking about the English Bill of Rights in another cast. That's all for today. And remember, it's a great day to be a rougher, because the roughers of the day, the Roundheads, were big instruments in bringing about positive change in England, even though it was a bloody affair. In the end, it led to England becoming what it is today, a constitutional monarch that's been stable since 1700 to today.